Hello, 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 dear friends. It's the English Gentleman ASMR here. I've had this channel for 8 wonderful months. This is the first time I'm on the other side of the camera. Perhaps it's long overdue. Perhaps it's too soon. Who knows? But I really wanted the opportunity to be able to say directly to those of you who over the past 8 months have been truly wonderful in your interaction with my content. So much of what I have created has been because of the suggestions you have made, and I feel that I have become more effective as a content creator thanks to the suggestions that you have made. I cannot thank you enough. So to celebrate the community around this channel, I thought I would get on this side of the camera, take a little mini break from reading wonderful books on art and history, literature, fashion, many more, and run through some very English triggers. What could be more quintessentially English than a spot of tea? Shall we get started? What is your favourite type of tea? I personally love Earl Grey. It's a very nostalgic tea to me, for my grandmother used to, still does, provide it when we go to her home in Shropshire. It has a wonderful fragrance and just tastes so floral. It's wonderful. I am partial to the standard breakfast tea, of course, of which this is. Yorkshire tea, you can't beat it. You of course have your Assams, your Redbush, a number of different teas, Darjeeling, of course, green tea, matcha, wonderful teas from around the world. But let's pour ourselves a good old traditional English breakfast tea. How strong do you like your tea? Do you have it with milk or without? I recently read that it is a bit of a faux pas to pour milk onto your tea bag, but I've been doing that all of my life. I'm not going to stop now. I do often prefer my tea, just like my coffee, to be a little on the strong side. Bottoms up. Delicious. Are you a bit of a tea slurper? Perhaps you're not that big of a fan of tea sounds. Drinking. Lovely. I love this card. This card was given to us by a relative to say thank you. and it is a 3D design of the Pollock toy shop. Benjamin Pollock's 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 toy shop. It is bursting at the seams with toys. We have an explosion of giraffes and skittles, bears, soldiers, dolls, robots. Makes a nice, satisfying, crunchy card sound. Covent Garden. If you've never been to Covent Garden before, and you ever visit London, you really should go. Its old piazza in the central of the square hosts a wonderful array of independent shops like this. You have a number of cafes as well, one of which often plays host to opera singers and, of course, string quartets serenading you as you enjoy your tea. Of course, one of the most famous toy shops in all of England is based in London, Hamleys, just off Oxford Circus. Now, I have very fond memories of going to Hamleys as a child. You'd have around 5-6 floors, huge floors, stuffed to the rafters with toys and games. I made a slight error in my young adult years in signing up for a job there. Now, to be fair, this wasn't at Hamleys itself. I didn't realise that there were many toy operators who operated inside Hamleys, and they would share their wares, their toys, and demonstrate them. So if you saw somebody demonstrating magic tricks, then they would be people employed by the production company of the magic tricks to demonstrate them and to sell them. And of course, with every sales roll, there came quotas. I took on a role selling a particular item that required a fair amount of skill to demonstrate. I did not demonstrate it well, and I was expected to be on the shop floor demonstrating this to passers-by, tourists, regular shopgoers. The pressure to show people how to use this toy when I could barely do it myself, and to suddenly realise all of the wonderment that I'd seen in action in Hamleys over the past years, had a sales element attached, because of course it does. Of course it does, there's nothing wrong with that. But it all became so overwhelming, an attack on my nostalgic sense of righteousness, that I put the toy down and I just left. I'd lasted about 3 hours in that role. So I apologised to my employers at the time, who must have felt, where has he gone? Why has he done this? I didn't approach it very maturely. I've learned a lot since then in my wiser years. But be careful what you sign up for and really understand what it is that you're doing before you jump into it. What a wonderful card. We are big bakers in this household. I'm more of the savoury cook. those talents who just tries out a new type of bake, complains that it's terrible and that she had a very hard time producing it, but it is fresh, beautiful French kiss. Not French kiss, that would be a little bit more, wouldn't it? Chef's kiss, not French kiss. Beautiful, wonderful bakery skills. She made some wonderful cupcakes and cakes for our children's birthday parties. She creates a fantastic floral arrangement with cupcakes. I once made, or attempted to make, a birthday cake for my wife, and we were going to a picnic, and I was bringing this along. It was a simple lemon sponge cake with a lemon curd icing. Now, I made a critical error in that I thought I could get away with, or misread the label, of rather than getting lemon curd for the icing, I bought lemon curd yogurt. You can see where this is going. So lemon curd is very thick, quite glue-like. It has a substance to it, a viscosity. So when mixed with the icing sugar and other ingredients for this icing, it would have created a lovely Moorish topping for the cake. Now the reason why I carried on is because I used the lemon curd yogurt with the remaining ingredients, and it looked great in the kitchen. It looked exactly like it was supposed to look. So I'd etched happy birthday to my wife on the cake, put it into a Tupperware box and transported it on public transport to get to the park. Unfortunately, in the moving and the shaking of the bus, I didn't realise that because it was yogurt and not lemon curd, it didn't set. So it was very liquidy on the top and gradually subsided and melted away till the message to my wife essentially read, "Happy Red." It was indistinguishable as a birthday cake, unfortunately. Now I tell this story because I sent a picture of this cake, the before and after, to the Great British Bake Off Extra Slice, which is a companion show to the Great British Bake Off. You may know it has the Great British Baking Show, of course. And Extra Slice is a companion show that is shown at the end of every week that, in a light-hearted manner, reviews the events of the show that week, has special guest speakers on, fun reviews of people's bakes. Somebody from the production team got in contact with me off the back of my photo, because you're encouraged to send photos in, and they all laugh at either the very bad bakes or are wondered in awe of the wonderful bakes that are sent in. And they contacted me, and I thought they were going to ask, would you be happy for us to include the photo on the show? But they actually asked, would we like to come to the show and be in the audience? So I said yes, of course. My wife made, for the occasion, because you're supposed to bring bakes if you're in the audience in this little front row with the tables, she made a series of pastry roses. And to give it a twist, she decided to make it with vegan ingredients. Now, unfortunately, what we didn't realise is that the panel would try some of the bakes, and they chose ours as one of them, because they looked great. One of the panel was Michel Rouginia, a big Michelin star chef. So my wife was aghast to see him actually try a bake that she didn't hold to a high standard, because she just did it as an experiment, not using traditional baking ingredients. And he commented as such, saying you can't beat proper dough or something like that. But it's one of those things that just happens in a blur, and then you realise, wow, we sat front row to a recording of a show, and a proper serious world-renowned chef tried special memory. Of course, when we got everybody over to watch it, they didn't include that in the finished article, so lots of people gathered around to watch it, and then it just skimmed past us. So that was lucky for my wife, but a bit of a shame for all those who were in attendance, of course. Home sweet home, home sweet home, home sweet home, home sweet home. The concept of home is so important. To have a place that represents who you are and what you wish to be, and creates a sense of belonging, calmness, solidarity, togetherness. Very important. It is so difficult out there to establish a home for oneself. We have spent a lifetime pursuing career goals and objectives that have never necessarily financially been that rewarding. So only now are we playing catch up on where we live and how we live. It is challenging, and what we have is very humble, very small, for our familial needs. But it doesn't matter what size it is. You can always make a space your own. And that's all that matters. Other people may have bigger, luxurious, wonderful homes. But what does that matter when all you need is yourself, your health, perhaps loved ones? Art, books, culture, warmth, security. No matter what your tastes are, your home is the heart of that. Of course, these clubs have been a mainstay of the majority of videos that I have produced. A subscriber recently asked what the story behind them was, and it was an interesting question. I actually originally got them before I started recording anything, because I felt if I was going to do anything that involved my hands, I was quite self-conscious of my hands. My fingers are double jointed, 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 double 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 jointed, which means they bend. This one in particular and this one in particular bend all the way to the back of the hand. Now, I won't necessarily show it on a video like this because it could be disruptive to the experience. But what it has done over the years is create some very deep crease lines, some ridge lines across my hands that I've often been very self-conscious about. So I felt perhaps I'll just wear some nice gloves to mask those hands while I produce my content. However, over time, I felt it worked very well with the general aesthetic of the channel. Handling books and working through books, history, art, culture, fashion, whatever. The wearing of these gloves just added a nice, gentle handling of artifacts. This is what the subscriber mentioned in the comments. This is what they felt, and I agree, actually. Adds this kind of curator effect to the videos, which I quite enjoy. Some of them are showing wear and tear now, and they don't hold up very well in the wash. They become a bit thin and fragile in the wash, so I'm going to have to purchase a new bunch of them, as of course over time the inkiness of the books comes off, which is quite nice in a way, that the knowledge of the books has transformed itself into my very hands from a literal level, of the ink literally transposing itself onto the gloves as opposed to just purely going into one's mind. I do quite like that. It wouldn't be an English gentleman video without touching on some form of book, would it? Here we have a wonderfully presented sonnets and narrative poems by the one and only William Shakespeare, The Everyman's Library. These books all look wonderful, these compendiums, lined up on your bookshelf with this wonderful spine. Shall we open a random page? Now, if you do enjoy the sonnets of William Shakespeare, one of my very first series of videos was a whispered recital of every sonnet. So do make sure to check that out if you enjoy this kind of whispered content. I've just opened here 102. My love is strengthened, though more weak in seeming. I love not lest, though less the show appear. That love is merchandised, whose rich esteeming the owner's tongue doth publish everywhere. Our love was new, and then but in spring, when I was wont to greet it with my lays, as Philomel in summer's front doth sing and stops her pipe in growth of riper days. Not that the summer is less pleasant now, than when her mournful hymns did hush the night, but that wild music burdens every bough, and sweets grown common lose their dear delight. Therefore I like her, I sometimes hold my tongue, before I would not dull you with my song. So, it's an interesting one, isn't it? 102. My love is strengthened, though it's more weak in seeming. I love not less, though less the show appear. It's almost like I love you a lot, but perhaps you can take that for granted, or I'm taking it for granted, because time has passed and there is only so much I can show consistently. That love is merchandised, which is offered for sale, of course. That love is offered for sale, whose rich esteeming the owner's tongue doth publish everywhere. It's so exciting and so new. I'll tell anyone who listens how much I love you, and in turn, that makes you feel great. When I was wont to greet it with my lays, as Philomel in summer's front doth sing, and stops her pipe in growth of riper days. So a Philomel is the nightingale. The nightingale, so he's referring to a bird here that obviously at the beginning of summer sings. And riper days just means later days, so in winter it would stop singing because it doesn't need to anymore. And the songs become a little bit more mournful. And sweets grow common, lose their dear delight. Therefore, like her, I sometimes hold my tongue, because I would not dull you with my song. Yes, sour phrases time and time again. Perhaps you'll grow sick of that. So maybe it's best I just rein it in a little bit, and you seem to be doing it too. We seem to be both silent, and it's the unsaid. So our love is unsaid, but don't take it for granted. Because I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you more than anything. It's just that I don't say it or express it as much as perhaps I should, because I fear that it is old and tiring. I've really enjoyed being this side of the camera. This is, of